Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Brown Butter Popcorn. It's your girl Toy and my co-host Mike. This is to all of our longtime listeners and those of you that are new. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Okay, so I'm not currently subscribed, but if that's how you're gonna be talking on here, then I might need to. I don't even know what podcast I'm listening to. What podcast you said?
Brown Butter
Oh,
Popcorn.
okay, yeah. All right, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Brown Butter Popcorn. Special episode today. We're reviewing longtime listener, the feature directorial debut
Right.
of Danielle Nicolet. You may know her from Flash. She's a voice on Naruto. What else do we know her from? I don't want to say too many things.
Yeah, let's not.
She has a very long resume. We actually had the opportunity to sit down with her for an interview, which you can listen to after our spoiler-free review up front. Long-time listeners coming to ALLBLK, the AMC podcast, AMC streaming app, ALLBLK, ALLBLK, on April 2nd. And we had the opportunity via Greenleaf Publications.
You cut it off.
Greenleaf and Associates. Greenleaf and Associates allowed us to screen this movie and bring you this review ahead of time. So thank you to them. Thank you to Danielle for sitting down with us. Toy, do you have some information you want to share with us about this movie?
Okay, yeah. Long-time listener. Was produced by Joe Narode. Okay. Is that how you pronounce it? Okay. Who is attached to Shame and Pardoned by Grace. The film also stars Meagan Holder, who has been featured in Monarch and Pitch, as well as Genesis. Oh, I'm sorry, as Genesis.
The character's name is Genesis.
As Genesis. Sorry, guys. Okay, Lyriq Bent. I know him from She's Gotta Have It and Tyler Perry's Acrimony. He stars as the character Carter. Cleo Berry as Max, Leisha Wheeler as Ruby, and featuring a cameo by Toy Hart from Atlanta X's. Okay, so are we gonna do the synopsis?
Yeah, go ahead and give us a synopsis.
Okay, I'm gonna say it in my long time listener voice.
Okay, all right.
Okay, I'm gonna speak up because I have to have the right pitch and the right tone. Okay, here we go. When a true crime podcaster becomes the target of a mysterious long-time listener, fame quickly turns deadly. Dun, dun, dun.
Okay.
Pulled into a web of secrets that grow darker by the minute, she faces long buried truths that blur the line between storyteller and victim and raises one terrifying question. Who's really in control of the story?
I think I'm just worried about them troops you was talking about.
The troops. The long buried troops. Shut up.
So if you didn't catch it already, this is a crime thriller. Does not currently have a rating. And the runtime is pretty modest. It's only 85 minutes, so less than an hour and a half. So when it comes out, it is gonna be a quick watch. I enjoyed this movie, and I know when we first watched it, we had some. It's one of the it is a mystery. So while you're watching it, you're trying to figure out what's going on,
right?
And we had some questions at the end of the movie that our interview with Danielle kind of led us to go back and reinvestigate some things. I think we do have a clearer understanding of the flow of the movie. But overall, I enjoyed the ride. It was a fun movie. It definitely was better than I expected. Like I like going into a movie with no expectations really, and then being surprised by it versus coming into something with a ton of expectations and then maybe it doesn't live up to the expectations. But this one exceeded my expectations.
I agree, and I think it was fun for me to have her mention things that we had already caught before she told us that there's something to watch or something to pay attention to. I think we were already, I don't know, I think that's the way we watch television. We watch movies, we watch film. But before I met you, I don't think I did it the way that I do it now.
Explain.
I don't know. I think I've increased my observation skills having you around, because I think you offer a different vantage point that, you know, I myself, I see things differently. And so, you know, adopting your viewpoint or your point of view and then just kind of assimilating it with mine.
Okay.
Yeah. I combine them and I see so much more now, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I won't even thought to even pay attention to this thing, but now I do.
It's a gift and a curse. I will say that, like, I catch myself, no matter what I'm watching, I pay attention to every single detail. And sometimes it backfires. Like, sometimes it has me paying attention to things that I maybe didn't need to pay as much attention to.
But you like a lot of mystery, though.
I do.
And so that I think that's required.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I think if you're making a murder mystery type of movie, type of show, you better pay attention to them details.
Right. Because what's the last thing that we went to the movies to see? The last mystery.
Was it Knives Out?
Yes, it was.
Or I guess Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery.
Right. And in that one, it was the same way. But if I had not adopted your point of view and, you know, just seeing the way that you look at things, there were a lot of things that I myself would have missed.
Gotcha. And I can respect that. I think since we're giving me credit for stuff, one thing I want to make sure I give you credit for, and it may not have come into play in this particular movie, but I love your ability to sniff out the upcoming romantic trysts way before they're even shared. I was telling Reese about this the other day when we were watching. We were talking about Paradise. And I was like, she called out immediately that them two women were going to get together. And I was like, what? And you pointed out that old buddy was looking at Xavier's wife in the picture, which I didn't notice initially.
Yeah.
So that's your skill that you bring to the table. And I'm probably going to start watching things differently.
And it's okay. So I will give you a little tidbit.
Okay.
It's not necessarily just about how they move. It's not just about behaviors. Okay. It's about the conversations too. When that nurse, quote unquote nurse, because she was like a CMA. Yeah. When she was talking about just her life, and to me, what I heard her say, without her actually saying it, is, I portray something that I'm not.
Gotcha.
And, you know, I put on, or, you know, I don't necessarily live in my truth. So it's just like, okay, boom, go ahead and put them together, because that's what y'all finna do.
I respect it. Yeah. All right, let's get back to the movie.
All right.
First thing I think I want to talk about, and then I'll defer to you on the next topic, the characters.
Okay.
When you have a murder mystery, we have a mystery type movie, I would say, and you can if you want to.
Okay.
I would say that the characters are very important to making the story interesting, keeping the story interesting, creating believable villains, creating believable heroes, and then being able to play with characters being on either side.
Okay.
Not a big cast in this one. Wasn't necessary.
No, I was going to say you didn't need all that.
But I liked the cast that they had, and it felt like they knew each other, which, when we talked to Danielle, they did.
Yeah.
And I'll let y'all listen to what she had to say about that. But small cast, they felt like they knew each other. They felt like genuinely, which they're supposed to. They're co-workers. They've been working together for some time. And the relationships felt real. The relationships felt believable. there were complexities to each relationship, each dynamic, and that all came across in the movie. And I would say there was only one of the characters that has more than a couple minutes on screen that I never thought was the killer. Everybody else felt like a suspect.
I can agree. I can agree. There were moments where I was leaning a little bit towards this side or a little bit towards the other side. Just how they introduce certain themes and certain topics. That is really a true whodunit, and a lot of twists and turns and curve balls that they throw. And so I appreciated that because I don't want to have it all figured out in the beginning because I lose interest and I don't want to watch it anymore.
Yeah. Definitely not one that was easy for me to figure out. And then even when you get your answers, it's like, all right, now I'm trying to figure out how to put it back together, which we talked about. Like at the end of the movie, we had some questions. We had to go back. We did our research. We went back, which is the beauty of being able to screen something. And I got my questions answered. I'm doing my best not to say anything that's going to be spoilery.
Right.
But yeah, as far as a mystery, as far as a fun movie watch on a weekend, whatever, you and your partner, you and your family, whatever. Is there a, let's do that actually because it's not rated. Is this a movie you would say is safe to watch with the family?
I actually wanted to watch it with Maddie.
Okay.
Like because when we were talking about going back and watching it again, if she were here, I would
okay.
I would want to watch that with her. I think it's good. I think it's a good movie. I think especially for I will say especially for women.
Okay.
Because I feel like some of the themes and some of the topics that they discuss are like not just red flags, but like, you know, like warnings, like, hey, pay attention to this if you see X, Y, and Z. And so I feel like there were moments where they kind of, you know, sent a message.
Okay.
And so I can appreciate that. And I think it's something that, you know, people, even if it's not the exact type of scenario,
right.
I think there are a lot of things to glean from the movie itself.
Like you can apply this to another situation. Gotcha. It's hard to talk about a mystery without in a non-spoiler review, so I'm looking forward to doing a quick spoiler review too. But try to make sure we hit all the key things that people like. Try to think of like get into the mind of somebody who's maybe thinking about sitting down to watch this. How are we selling them on the movie? Again, I would say I'm a murder mystery fan. This was a cool murder mystery for me. I like the characters. Characters were fun, dynamic. I don't think there's the movie slow at any point. But at the same time, it's not too fast and nothing ever felt rushed. As we're watching the movie. And it gives you something to talk about, I think, at the end. Like, at the end, you're going to be talking about, like, okay, this is who did it. How did we get here? Blah, 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 blah.
Right. And I think it's important. And she says this when we interviewed her, just pay close attention to things as you're watching the film. And I know that for me, sometimes, depending on what mood I'm in, I may not want to think too much or pay close attention too much. And so it helps me to know before going in that, okay, this is something that I need to be paying attention to. Right. So let me make sure I'm well rested. I got my snacks. I got my little drink, and I'm ready to lock in and really appreciate it all the way through.
Yeah, and it's definitely a movie where, you know, if you're watching on phone, tablet, laptop, it's going to be some moments where you want to pause.
Right.
And like pay attention to what's on the screen or in the background. Additionally, that's just kind of reminded me, we mentioned Danielle Nicolet is the director. She's actually in the movie too.
Right.
She's one of the core cast as well. So being behind the camera and in front of the camera, I thought she did a good job. One of the things that I really like, and I don't think this is a spoiler, in the beginning of the movie, you get like a kind of a cold open type of scene. And in the cold open, she's using a lot of effects from traditional horror movies and things of that nature. But one thing she did that I don't want to say it's uncommon. I've seen it before, but it's done to great effect. The character is listening to a podcast
that's talking about what the character is experiencing at the moment,
and it's not like she's aware,
right?
that
right.
she's reacting to what's being said on the podcast. Like, oh snap, that's me right now. Let me
right, exactly. And you know what? To me, I think it would have came off differently if she had started responding and reacting, because I've seen that before.
What's that?
Where they're responding and they're reacting, so it's just like, oh well, she ran to the left, oh no girl, that's the wrong way, and then she runs to the right, and so it's like it's nothing that she can do to escape her fate because it's already sealed. And so to me, that adds more of a comedic kind of twist to it. But I appreciate that she didn't do that, because we're on edge, and the character is just oblivious to what's happening and what's going on. And so it builds the suspense for us, because we see these little warning signs, we see these shadows, we see these things, we're listening to stuff. And so it's just like I'm on the edge of my seat while I'm just watching this thing, and I don't know how it's gonna unfold, but I know it's probably not gonna be good, because she's reacting to things, but she's having a yes sis moment, like you know what I'm saying, like while they're talking about it and everything, she was like, right, exactly. Like she's co-signing to everything, but it's just like,
until
girl,
got
you co-signing to everything though. What, you gotta watch what you're saying. Why are you saying this? Why you pay attention? And so I like that. I like how she did that. That was great.
It was done to great effect. It didn't get too long. It didn't get too, like you said, on the nose. And it pays off in the end. This scene in particular, like, it comes back around. Initially, I was like, okay, how does this tie to the story? But it does tie to the story, so that was great. Again, pay attention to all those details. All the information you're getting is going to matter. What else was I going to say there about those little touches? We're podcasters, obviously, so a movie. We get these movies, we get these TV shows that want to touch on the reality of things that are going on. So, like, podcasts are popping, podcasts are hot.
I'm sorry.
And so,
because I'm just like, we're podcasters. That's so weird for me. I'm sorry.
One of these days, you're going to accept that you are a podcaster.
Okay.
Are you mad about it?
I'm not mad about it. It's just like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Oh my gosh.
That doesn't make sense to me, because I always joked about doing it in college, and like totally different than what we're doing. But I never thought that I would really like do it seriously. And so I appreciate you for,
and now you're
for suffering through with having me on here, inviting me into this unknown territory, and allowing me to keep coming back and encouraging me to keep coming back. I thank you. I thank you.
Feel like you've grown?
I think so. I hope so. I mean, I hope I say things that I don't know, people enjoy listening to, or people can relate to, or people can just, relax to. I don't know.
Okay, let's not take it that far. No, I've always joked that, like, my worst episodes are great ASMR at the very least. Like,
okay.
Throw me in the background.
Well, I can bring it down and slow it down.
No. Don't put me to sleep. Should we do a rating?
I think we should save that for the spoiler.
Okay, so we're going to do a spoiler review, which we'll release separately. We're going to attach, the interview is right after this, so just give it a second. The interview will start after we're done here. Is there anything we need to say on the non-spoiler side before we close this out?
I don't think so. I think that's it.
Okay, well, I recommend, again, if you like murder mysteries, if you have access to the app, definitely give it a listen, give it a spin. I enjoyed it well enough to watch it twice.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, I will check it out, and I'll definitely be checking for whatever Danielle Nicolet does next as far as directing goes.
Absolutely.
Enjoy the interview, guys.
Peace.
Peace. All right. So first of all, thank you for joining us today on Brown Butter Popcorn. Um, you have a very diverse resume. That's the first thing that kind of stands out to me. You've been on everything from Family Matters and Bernie Mac to voice work on Naruto. So how does your directorial debut in a feature end up being a thriller?
Oh gosh. Geez, Mike, that's a wide-ranging question.
It is a little bit of.
Um Gosh, I don't know. I would say, I mean, obviously, as an actor, I've done a million trillion things. Um, Also, I feel wildly ancient, you bringing up everything from Family Matters to, wherever we are now, like on the other side of the Flash. Um, but how did my first directing gig really end up being a feature was a thriller. I think um in spite of the fact that my acting career has been so centered on comedy. I know The Flash was not a comedy. I know it was a very long time over there. But even with that, like especially in the early days, my character on The Flash was like very light and kind of comedic and brought some levity to serious situations. But genre wise, The Flash is certainly not in alignment with a thriller. All
Right.
of that said, I think my directorial eye, my writer's eye, my internal sense of like what kind of stories I want to tell, those really are more in alignment with like what I watch in life, which is a lot of scary movies and a lot of kind of dark, twisty stuff.
Okay.
And so this directing gig came along, I think probably more as a result of a short film that I wrote and directed called 13,
Okay.
which was a rather dark revenge fantasy about a woman who is confronting her childhood abuser.
Mm.
And yeah, the the log line is sometimes closure appears in different ways.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I think that probably thinking of me for a thriller was more in alignment with like that's where my directing work was already kind of headed and my
Okay.
my sort of storytelling eye.
That makes sense. And I think when I was doing my research for this interview, I saw the short film and I didn't see the actual film. I saw that you talking about it. Is it available anywhere right now? Because I think when it first came out, it was on Peacock, but I couldn't find it.
Oh, okay. That's a different film. That is Black Karen. I wrote that, but I didn't direct that. Meagan Good directed that, and that
Okay.
is available on Peacock. The film I was just talking about, which I wrote and directed, is called 13, and it's on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube,
Okay.
and it's going to be available on Tubi in a few months as well. But yeah, just type my name into YouTube and well, actually, no, type my name into YouTube and a lot of stuff will pop up. Type Danielle Nicolet 13 into YouTube and it'll pop up.
Awesome. I definitely want to check that out.
Yeah,
Um,
please do.
are you a true crime fan as well?
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Okay.
I have my personal podcast and TV like interest range is everything from, very like heady, highbrow political stuff all the way down to like your girl be ratchet. And I love me some ratchet stuff.
Gotcha.
So I love a murder show. I just do. Like I could go to sleep to murder shows. They're so interesting to me. And so my podcast life is, are you girl? Are you murder show
Yeah,
too?
yeah. hmm
Okay.
Investigation
Okay. I
discovery.
watch.
It's plain.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a girlfriend who calls that whole channel Murder, Death, Kill, and it
Yeah.
just makes her so happy. I watch murder shows the way men watch porn when their wives aren't home. Like my husband will walk in the door and I like slam the computer shut or turn off the TV and he's like, "Oh Lord, let me guess. Murder show?" And I'm like, "Yep,
Oh my,
yep, all the good ones."
I don't
So
understand.
yeah, directing longtime listener was really in alignment for me with like, what I find very entertaining.
Awesome. Awesome.
Well, I saw a lot of faces, familiar faces, and I was wondering, did you have anything to do with the casting of this
I,
movie?
I had everything to do with the casting because when the wonderful folks at Green Apple, Roxanne Warren, our executive on our film in particular, asked me to direct. So the conversation was like, will you be in this film and also will you direct it? And my answer was yes. I have a caveat. And my caveat was you need to let me call my friends to be in it with me. And it's entirely selfish on my part and selfless on their part because I knew that if I called Meagan and Lyriq and said, you guys, I
Mhm.
need you to come do this movie for me. I knew that they would do it. And I knew I was protecting myself as a first time director because I was guaranteed to get the best performances ever. I was guaranteed to have stars in my film that everyone knows and loves. And I was guaranteed to have two of my best friends there cheering me on and supporting me as a director at the same time. So,
Yeah.
for anybody listening, my co-stars in the film, I'm really more their co-star in this movie than they are mine.
Mhm.
Meagan Holder, who lots and lots of people know from, of course, Pitch and Monarch, and might remember us together as a dynamic duo for a few years on Born Again Virgin. And Lyric Bent, who obviously is, the smolderiest, sexiest man alive, who everyone knows from She's Gotta Have It. And of course, a million other things. Lyric and I met on Tyler Perry's Acrimony opposite Taraji P. Henson. He, of course, was like, the horrible hot guy who broke her heart. Um, so I knew, having worked with them both so extensively, like what their work ethic was. And also, they're two of my dearest, dearest friends in real life. And I knew they wanted me to succeed. And I knew that the best way to make that happen is to surround yourself with supportive people. And I'm so grateful. I'm so, so, so grateful to them forever. Like, listen, if I can give anybody in the world advice out there, it's find good friends and be a good friend because it's the fastest route to being successful at anything that you do.
That's definitely great advice, and you can kind of tell that the relationships were already there.
Yeah.
That it comes across on screen. You want to ask
Yeah,
a question?
Megan and I kind of, when we're together, we fall into a sort of automatic rhythm. There's one scene in the film when we're driving up to the house in the back end of the film, and there's one scene that was a little tough to shoot because we so automatically fall into like a comedy rhythm with each other because it's what we did for so long that like as the director, I had to stop us and be like, no, we're being too funny. Come on, we have to pull it together here. Be serious. Somebody might die.
I think that kind of leads right into your next question.
Because, well, you talked about when you were acting, and I'm just wondering how the transition from actress into directing, like, was it challenging? Was it difficult?
Meaning directing and being in the film myself, or like in grander scheme of things, expanding into
Well, I guess
directing.
both. Both, yeah.
Um, Directing and being in the film is super challenging. It was a super challenging circumstance, particularly in this film, because we shot on such a tight budget schedule, everything. Um, it- but also it felt like a challenge that I needed to live up to. Like I'm an actor and I'm never going to be able to erase my face. I'm never going to be able to erase my history as an actor. And I I kind of felt like, well, if you want to expand, then you can't pretend like you're anything other than what you already are known to be. So let's prove that you can be both in the same space. And also, I was extremely, again, blessed and lucky to have such fantastic and genuinely close friends on set with me. So I could say, Lyriq, you're an accomplished producer and you know everything that you're talking about. You're not in the scene. I am. Can you please go stand at the monitor and make sure that I'm not screwing anything up? You know what I mean? One of the biggest things I learned directing is there's no way you're going to do it well on your own. And, asking for help is a superpower, and relying on people who are smart and knowledgeable is really far more powerful than not really being super great at something or not really knowing something completely, but being too prideful to ask. So that was like having Lyriq present, having my husband who came in clutch on so many levels present. That really enabled me to have my moments. And also my director of photography was so terrific. And so I had him in a supportive space as well.
What would you say surprised you the most then about this transition and this experience? I know, like you said, having a lot of good people around and working with people that you're familiar with probably helped you in a lot of ways, but surely there had to be something that came up that you not being the actress, you being the director, had to deal with that you maybe wouldn't have dealt with if you were just in the actor chair.
Woo! Yeah, so many things. I y'all know I've been on one TV show or another since I'm 16 years old. When you're an actor and you're not in the scene, or whatever it is that you're doing in that moment is done, you sort of like you take your Diet Coke and your snack. It's kind of like preschool. Like you take your little snack and your Diet Coke and you go to your trailer and you go sit in your room and you watch TV, you play on your computer, you learn your lines for the next scene, and you wait until someone comes to get you. And then you go out there and you work hard. You do the best that you can with what you're doing. When you're directing, there's no snack. There's no Diet Coke. There's no going anywhere for a break. Even if you tried to take a break, there's so much going on at all times. And it's not just that you have to know what's going on. You also have to remember that. So I'll put it like this. One of my directing mentors, Jeff Bird, who I love with my whole heart, and I'm so, so grateful for. You guys are, I'm sure, familiar with all his work. And Jeff said to me one time, your main job as a director is to make sure that every single person in every single department knows that you are working even harder than they are. Because they're working so hard and they're not getting the acknowledgement for it. So you need to show them that there's no one on this set who works harder than you, and there's no one who appreciates how hard they're working than you. And that, I tried to keep that front of mind every second, because we were working again in such a challenging environment. We were shooting more pages a day than you should ever have to, in fewer days than you should ever be given, in weather circumstances that were challenging, and no one was making any money. And you kind of realize, like, if I want to keep this, if I want to make this into a good thing, everyone has to be having a good experience. And that means everyone has to know that they're seen and they're heard and they're appreciated and their opinion is valued, and that they can trust me as the director. I won't steer them wrong. So it was in equal measure the hardest thing I've ever done and the most rewarding thing I've ever done.
And I can say, just for me, like, it doesn't come across as if you were dealing with these tight constraints or anything. Everything looks like you were on point for sure.
Thank you. That was my goal. Thank you. That means a lot.
Is there anything that you would do differently based on this experience the next time you're in the director's chair? And I'm assuming you're going to do this again. So
I do. It's so funny. So one of my besties, Kayla Compton, who also was on The Flash with me. And I remember the first time she directed, and she came over to my apartment afterwards, and I was like, "How are you doing? You're so proud of yourself." And she just broke down in tears and was like, "I never want to do that again." And about a week later, she was like, "Okay, I've had enough. I'm ready to do that again." Because turns out she's really good at that.
Mhm.
Um, and I had the exact same experience where I was like, the second it was over with, I was so exhausted. And I it didn't take very long until I realized like anything that's super important in life, right? Like anything from childbirth to birthing a movie to, reaching goals that you set for yourself. You go, "Oh yeah, the thing that comes on the other side, like the achievement of that goal and creating this thing means you figure it out and then you do it again. And the next time it'll be just as hard, but it'll be different problems, you know."
Yeah.
There's still shots that I didn't get that I lie awake at night going, "Oh, so, next movie down, I'll never forget that thing that I forgot on this one." But I also know the next movie's gonna be hard, and that's okay. I'll deal with it in the moment.
That's some great perspective right there. Getting to the details of the movie a little bit more. Um, we both enjoyed the movie. What was maybe your favorite moment or favorite thing about just the movie itself, the way the story comes together?
Mm, my I have to break it down a little bit.
Okay.
So my favorite, like just personal moment, like just personal, is
Okay.
probably the moment that I mentioned before, where Megan and I's characters arrive at the house at the end of the movie, and we walk in together, and just on a personal level, she and I are so close, and it's been a long time since we had scenes together, and especially scenes that required like a little bit of timing, and it was like really just joyful, I think, for both of us to be like, well, here we are all these years later, buddied up in scenes where we're about to walk in and have something crazy happen.
I was gonna say you say buddied up,
So
but call that's went a little but buddy in.
in that moment at least, yes. Yeah. Um, but I think overall, gosh, my favorite visuals in the film are the opening sequence leading up to the credits, because I got to really incorporate. I had two directors in mind who I love and I've seen all of their films a million times over. And in shooting a thriller, I wanted to have a few beats that were sort of homages to those directors, the Billy Wilder and Alfred Hitchcock.
Mm-hmm.
And I really crafted a lot of that with my director of photography, of like the idea of we're going to work with a lot of shadows and and find a way to build those scares, because this movie is for television. I didn't get to, I can't make bloody murders. I had to figure out ways to keep this series of events happening in a way that was scary and suspenseful, but also not gory.
Mhm.
And so we crafted ways to use shadows and light and camera angles that, sort of pull the viewer in. And so that opening sequence, I think, is where I got to use all of those ideas at once. We got to play with light on the knife, and the scream before the credit sequence was very like deliberately my homage to
When the
Hitchcock.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very, and the paciness of the dialogue like splitting between the podcast
Mhm.
and our actress. My kind of homage to Billy Wilder, and like, how do you deliver information in a film but keep it paced and
Yeah.
keep it interesting and inform the audience but also entertain.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's probably my favorite actual sequence of the film.
Awesome.
There's a
Yeah.
couple other things at the end too, but I can't talk about them because it would give
Yeah,
it
I don't,
away.
don't want to spoil too much. Don't want to spoil too much. I think I can go with my next one, I guess. Did any scenes give you trouble? Any specific scenes give you any trouble?
Oh geez, what kind of trouble?
I
Like
know you
like
mentioned the weather earlier, but like where you had to do multiple takes, or maybe you've had
okay,
something that you couldn't make happen.
okay, Lord. Yes. So I can't give away any details in the interview, but there's a sequence at the end, um, which my character may or may not be present for. And I only had one opportunity to do this one thing, and we were shooting at night. And uh, we were in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and it was, I don't know at this point, 3 o'clock in the morning. And when I tell you it was 92 degrees with like 92% humidity, Louisiana had its way with us that night. The whole final sequence of the film, we all shot it. We shot it all in one wildly hot September night in Louisiana. And I have spent a lot of time in New Orleans in my life. I love Louisiana. And I was like, this town is having its revenge on me for those nights on Bourbon Street. Equipment was going haywire because of the humidity. The actors were going haywire because we were all melting. It was something else.
Yeah, there was a lot going on, so I could only imagine if those circumstances just making it that much worse.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that you sparked since we got there? All right.
No.
I will ask you.
I'm not sparking you, Toy. I would like to spark you.
No, I know. I'm present. I'm
gonna ask you this then. I'm gonna ask you this then. Is there anything that we didn't ask about that you definitely want to talk about the movie, long time listener, before we move to some maybe not so movie related questions?
I will say this. I would love, um, if anyone is so inclined and enjoys the movie, one of the other like major things that I focused really, really hard on in planning for this film was the awareness that it's a mystery that unfolds and it has a lot of twists and turns. And the ending is a surprise and it's meant to be a surprise. And I tried to design everything, and everyone from cast and crew knew we had this mantra of we're doing it for the second watch because I want you to be surprised. I want you to go, what the heck? No way when you watch it the first time. But when you go back and watch it the second time is when you'll actually see all the clues that we laid in there throughout the whole process. Like, and even when you're watching it the first time, if you're fortunate enough to catch this podcast beforehand, I would just say like I tried to make a fun game of it that you can really like be on the lookout. Like when everyone's in the office in the hangout room and there's a whiteboard that's always there. Maybe there's a clue or two on that whiteboard. You may or may not realize that it just looks like, scribbles that are in the background. But when you go back on that second watch, you see like, oh, hang on, wait a second. What's that?
Yeah,
And
I actually paused it on that scene because I was
did
like,
you?
that doesn't look normal. I don't think that's what that's supposed to be.
Interesting. So you caught that. Yay. Yeah, so there are quite a few of those throughout the film, those little kind of Easter eggs, if you will, that I really wanted to make it that it's something that, like, if you enjoy the film, for me, when I watch a movie, particularly something that's kind of like light and fun and doesn't require, too much investment on my part, it's not going to take over my day to watch this film. When I find something like that, a lot of times, because I have a streamer, I'll just put it on again and just have it on in the background. Because I'm like, oh, I know what's going to happen, but it's fun. And so I really try to design it for that opportunity. And so, yeah, to anyone watching, like, there's a game in there that I laid out for you, the same way a longtime listener is playing a game. And, be on the lookout for the clues and the hints and the Easter eggs. And the second time around, you'll see them all top to bottom.
Yeah, and we definitely plan to watch again. There was a couple things we definitely wanted to go back and say, wait a minute, let's see if we can catch it the first time about.
Yeah.
So you did your job.
Yeah. Thank you. There hopefully should be a conversation at the end going, wait a second, but how did that work? Oh, right. That's my hope.
Awesome. I guess we can transition to a couple questions that are not tied to the movie necessarily.
Ask away. Yeah.
The first one, what's one thing out there that you're either watching currently or maybe reading currently that has your attention?
Right now I'm reading Isabel Allende, The Long Paddle in the Sea,
Okay.
because I have a interest in learning about the Spanish Civil War, and I'm also learning to speak Spanish at the same time, and so it all kind of like tracks. In terms of like high quality scripted stuff that I'm watching right now, I'm watching DTF on HBO. Jason Bateman is incredible. In terms of Ratchet TV that I'm watching right now, I just finished the last season of Love After Lockup.
Oh.
Because I am a woman of many faces.
That's a little
I am
range there.
I am I am all things. I'm every woman. And I watch High Art and I watch Ratchet Entertainment and I love them all. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else am I watching though that's like I'm trying to think what I'm watching like when I'm on my own that isn't reality TV. Um, oh, I just finished watching the Gangs of London.
Okay.
And ironically, but this is not deliberate, it is also on AMC and AMC Plus. Uh, if you
Good.
guys haven't had a chance to watch this, Gangs of London is outstanding.
Okay. Okay. I have not checked that one out, but it's definitely I've seen advertisements. It looks interesting.
If you love a gangster show with like a little bit of violence and a lot of family drama, it's for you.
Try to keep one in rotation at all times. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sons, all that stuff is up my alley. So
yeah.
you want to ask the Maddie question?
So my daughter wanted to know what it's like working on Naruto. She's a
Oh, she's so sweet. For me, it's a little bit of a sore throat because as she knows, my character does a lot of screaming. She has a pretty severe anger management problem, and she tries and she tries and she tries to hold it, but not very doesn't do a very good job of it, and then she ends up screaming. I have so much fun doing it. It's the same group of folks that have been doing it for a really long time, and so I'm always happy to get to see those folks. And I have to be honest with you, when I started doing it, I did not understand that I was doing a show that anyone cared about. And I realize now how crazy that sounds. But I did not know that anyone, I was like, oh yeah, sure. I was doing for the same producers.
Mhm.
Uh I know I apologize to all of my DC Universe fans that, you know, have a problem with this, but for many years I voiced Storm for all of the Marvel properties. And
Mhm.
so the same producers who I worked for Marvel were the same producers who said, "Hey, do you want to come and do Naruto?" And I was like, yeah, sure. You know, great. I don't know a whole bunch about it, but love you guys. And it's the same studio. And yeah, I'm happy to come hang out. And they have really good snacks in the break room. And then I want to say it was a good year.
Mhm.
And I was doing a con um, with the rest of the cast of The Flash. And kids started coming up and saying, "Don't you have any Naruto photos? Don't you have any Naruto photos?" And I was like, what's going on here? And then I turned to one of my former castmates, Carlos Valdez, who's far cooler and like plugged into the world than I am. And I was like, what is this? Like, I don't know. I'm like voicing this character on this cartoon. And he was like, how do you not know what you're doing? Then and only then, a year of doing it until I realized that, oh, shoot, that's like the biggest anime in the whole entire world. I had no
Yeah.
idea. I am a super dork. Yeah.
Oh my
So
God.
of course now I'm like super proud and excited and like, holy smokes, I can't believe I do this.
I was gonna say that to accidentally fall into that is actually very interesting to me. Like that's very interesting. That had to be
Isn't life funny that way?
yeah, that had to be an insane experience for you.
Yes, it was beyond insane. Beyond.
All
All
right.
right.
Is this the last one?
I think this is.
Okay. So, in honor of the name of our podcast, which is Brown Butter Popcorn, we'd
Mhm.
like to ask you if you were a flavor, which flavor would you be? And it
Sea
doesn't,
salt caramel.
you said sea salt caramel.
Sea salt caramel, hands down. I don't do chocolate. Sea salt caramel.
No hesitation.
No, none. No hesitation.
I am a popcorn fan. I'm a popcorn aficionado, as they say. And yeah, I don't know if you've ever had like sea salt caramel popcorn, but I need the salty and the sweet together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and then I don't do chocolate on popcorn, but if you get sea salt caramel popcorn and then you go to Trader Joe's and you get the dark chocolate covered raisins and you pour those into the popcorn, then you are welcome because I have just changed your life. To everyone involved, you are welcome.
That is like the best answer we could have like asked for.
Yes.
Like that's awesome.
You had no idea that I'm this prepped and ready for a popcorn question.
Right.
It's my thing.
I was planning on saying, well, it doesn't have to be a popcorn flavor, and she was already on it. She was
gonna say the answer.
I'm a picky eater. I know what I like.
That's awesome. Well, Danielle, you've been great. We definitely appreciate your time.
Yes.
This is a fun movie. This is a fun interview, and wish you the most success going forward.
Yes. Thank you so much. I say the same to both of you for this podcast and your other. Toy, please give Maddie a hug from me and tell her that I said I'm so sorry about all the screaming, but I can't help it. And I can't thank you enough for also taking the time to watch the film before we talked and, giving me an opportunity to promote it. So I'm terribly grateful and I hope we get a chance to talk again.
Oh, definitely. Looking forward to whatever you do next.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.